A wealthy middle-aged woman came to claim me as kin, saying I was her long-lost son. Her daughter, my biological sister in name only, looked me up and down with utter disgust. I swallowed a sedative to calm my manic nerves. Claiming me is fine, but please show me your sincerity. It wasn't until a transfer of $1 million hit my account that I agreed to go home with them. Once there, the adopted son started acting up, driving me to stay in the storage room. I raised my heavy, sledgehammer-like fist and said magnanimously, "I'm okay with the room, but you have to add more money." Ding ding. Bank alert. $1 million received. Please check your balance. Your pupils are dilated, pulse rapid and thready. Signs of rising internal fire. I suddenly realized my mania was flaring up again. I clenched my fists, knuckles cracking loudly. The thick calluses on my joints marked me clearly as a trained fighter. The doctor's eyelid twitched as he advised me to exercise restraint. I turned my head. 2 women were standing outside the door. The older one was dripping in jewelry, still retaining her charm. The younger one had sharp, phoenix-like eyes and thin eyebrows, a face carved with meanness. From the moment we met, they had been staring at me. It made me irritable. These faces were repulsive. I walked out of the psychiatric clinic and met the 2 women there to claim me. The older one was Victoria Stone, claiming to be my biological mother. "Caleb, I am your mother. I've looked for you for so many years, and finally, heaven has answered my prayers. Mother and son are reunited. Come home with Mom. I will make everything up to you. From now on, our family will never be separated." Seeing her red eyes, it didn't seem faked. I was puzzled. "Do you have proof?" The young woman beside her spoke up. Her name was Tiffany Stone, and her eyes were full of disdain. "We are a prestigious family. Would we scam a poor boy like you?" She pulled out a DNA test, confirming we were blood relatives. "So, Tiffany was my biological sister. So you want to take me home?" I asked, confused. "Victoria Nadif." Tiffany cut in. "You can come back, but you have to cure your mental illness first." I explained I was just a bit bipolar with intermittent explosive disorder. Tiffany immediately changed her tune, saying I had to follow the rules if I returned. "The Stone family has strict rules. You've been out in the wild for so many years. Your temper is surely too feral." I couldn't tolerate that. I shot back. "Did you not brush your teeth? Your breath smells like sewage. Looking mean and speaking trash. You definitely don't have a man." Tiffany raged. "Bullshit, I have a man." I immediately cut her off. "Given away at such a young age? Seems your family rules aren't that great either." Mother Victoria stopped Tiffany, whose face flushed red with shame. Tiffany's look was full of malice. I raised my arm, feigning a punch. "What are you staring at? I'll pop your eyeballs out." Tiffany quickly looked away. After some negotiation, I agreed to a paid reunion. Tiffany scoffed. "Humph, poor people are all greedy for money." I sneered. "You don't spend money? You don't eat? You trying to act like a saint in front of me?" Tiffany shouted. "Do you have any manners? I am your big sister." I waved my hand dismissively. "Go rinse your mouth first. I don't acknowledge things with foul breaths." Tiffany wanted to argue more. I raised my heavy fist again, scaring her into silence. Victoria transferred a large sum, $1 million, calling it compensation. Excellent. I happily accepted the check. Hearing there was an adopted son at home, I suddenly felt a bit manic again. Half an hour later, I entered the Stone estate. I saw the adopted son, Julian, 5'3", weighing less than 100 pounds. A standard pick-me boy, appearing innocent but manipulative. Julian seemed happy, but his eyes betrayed unwillingness. "Brother, I'm so glad you're home. Mom won't be sick with worry anymore." He warmly held my hand. I sneered silently, enjoying his performance. Julian magnanimously offered his room. "Since brother is back, my room should return to its original owner. After all, I'm just an adopted son." Julian looked pitiful, immediately provoking Tiffany's anger. "Why should you rob Julian of his room? He is also my brother, and our bond is much deeper than with you. Did you read too many drama novels? How is this my fault?" I was about to get physical to wake her up, but Victoria immediately soothed me. "Julian will stay in his original room. The house has many rooms. Mom won't treat you unfairly." But after a good while, she couldn't coordinate a room. The house had 7 or 8 guest bedrooms, but Julian had converted them all into a study, a gaming room, a dance studio, a pantry. Victoria wanted to clear one out, but Tiffany strongly opposed it. "These all belong to Julian. Mom, you can't be biased." Julian suddenly interjected. "The storage room seems empty." Victoria frowned. "How can that be okay?" Julian immediately acted aggrieved. "Maybe I should just leave. It's my fault for taking brother's room." "Impossible. If anyone leaves, it's Caleb." I only recognize you as my brother. Tiffany's dominance gave Victoria a headache, so she asked me to take one for the team. Caleb, how about you make do for now? Mom will make it up to you later. I immediately said, forget later, do it now. Add another 100 grand, and I'm okay with the storage room. You child. Victoria helplessly transferred me the 100K. The first meal at home was awkward for everyone. Victoria tried to find topics, but it was purely forced conversation. When she heard my adopted mother treated me very well, her expression looked uncomfortable. Son, Mom will make it up to you properly. I won't let you suffer any grievances. I quickly said, don't wait for the future, transfer a bit more now. Money, money, money. Are you obsessed? Do you take the Stone family for fools? Poor and greedy. Mom shouldn't have brought you back. Julian stopped Tiffany. Brother must have had a hard time out there. Maybe he owes a lot of debt. That's why he's like this. Brother, if you have difficulties, just say it. Even if it's gambling debt, we will help you. Tiffany realized, so you're a gambler. Victoria Froneth. Caleb, do you really gamble? I was annoyed. Use your brain. Don't just believe whatever the adoptee says. Independent thought, distinguish right from wrong. Those words are enough for you two sows to learn for a lifetime. Tiffany was in disbelief. You dare call Mom a sow? I stuffed a chicken leg into my mouth. So she isn't, but you are? Lawless. I'll have the butler tear your mouth apart. Tiffany postured to call someone. Victoria shouted for them to stop. The meal was tasteless. After dinner, I walked into the storage room. The tiny 100-square-foot space had been cleaned. A cot, a small desk, and a simple wardrobe. It took up almost all the space. Conspicuously, a photo of my biological father hung on the wall. Victoria must have done that on purpose. The handsome man in the photo indeed looked 70% like me. No wonder Victoria recognized me at a glance. Time for medicine. I swallowed a sedative, and my manic mood calmed down. According to Victoria, my biological father became depressed after losing me and died in a car accident 2 years later. Honestly, I had no love or hate for this handsome man. Although I was an orphan, I had an adopted mother who raised me. She gave me all her love. My childhood was happy, and I grew up to earn a doctorate in engineering. If I hadn't wanted to make quick money, my future would have been bright. The next day, I planned to go home to see my adopted mother. I walked to the stairs but was blocked by Julian. He dropped the hypocrisy, revealing a face full of resentment. You think you can get everything just by coming back? This home is mine. You should have died out there. Before I could react, he suddenly fell. Thud. He rolled down the stairs. Julian lay on the ground, a large gash on his forehead. Blood seeped out rapidly, dyeing his face red. He clutched his face, grimacing in pain, secretly cursing himself for overacting. Holy hell, I was stunned. Next came the classic segment, the adopted son framing the biological son for pushing him downstairs. Tiffany was heartbroken, guarding Julian, her venomous gaze nearly burning. You animal, how dare you treat Julian like this? Motherless trash. You and your adopted mother should die. She deserves to be sick and suffer. She screamed insults frantically and called the butler to teach me a lesson. A man with a deep presence walked out. He wore a traditional kung fu shirt, his temples bulging, clearly a trained martial artist. I am Kane, the butler of the Stone family. I'm glad Madam brought you back. His tone shifted, his eyes narrowing. Master Caleb, but you shouldn't have hurt Master Julian. I have no choice but to offend you. Tiffany growled viciously. Break both his hands. I want him to be a cripple for life. Kane lunged at me with a tiger claw strike. Unfortunately, his vision was poor. He didn't see that I was already manic. I stomped my foot, and the marble floor shattered like a spiderweb. Instantly, the whole building trembled. Charging halfway, Kane slammed on the brakes, his confident face turning into a look of utter shock. Get lost! I kicked high, the tip of my shoe connecting with Kane's chin. He screamed, his body launching like a rocket. Bang! He smashed through the window, his fate unknown. Tiffany was terrified, staring at me in horror. You're actually this strong? No, impossible. I chuckled, my voice chilling to the bone. You thought I was a bum? You thought I was a greedy piece of trash? I accepted a paid reunion. Fair and reasonable. But you shouldn't have insulted my adopted mother, because you can't compare to a single strand of her hair. I reached out my large hand, my 5 fingers tightly clamping onto her skull. Tiffany let out a scream like a slaughtered pig. With a dull thud, I slammed the woman ruthlessly onto the floor. Her face made intimate contact with the marble tiles. Her somewhat exquisite features exploded into a mist of blood. Tiffany twitched a few times, then passed out. The whole world went quiet. I tilted my head to look at Julian. He was curled up in terror, trying hard to worm his way into the corner. That hair standing on end? The kid was scared stiff. I dragged Julian over and slapped him twice first. Julian begged and admitted his fault, practically wanting to kowtow. Brother, I was just joking with you. I was wrong. Look, I fell so hard. You vented your anger. Let's just end it here, okay? I refused. Your fall injury was self-inflicted. I pried open his mouth, grinning savagely as I reached in. If I don't teach you a lesson, you'll only get worse next time. People have a fatal flaw. They fear power, not virtue. I pulled his tongue out and twisted it into a knot. Julian's legs spasmed, and he fainted from the pain. At this moment, Victoria pushed the door open, followed by the heavily injured and disheveled Kane. Seeing Julian's miserable state, her heart broke. Caleb, why do you have to be so cruel? Even if Julian isn't related by blood, he is the child who has accompanied me for years, giving me joy and comfort. Why did you push him down the stairs? You have disappointed me too much. A look of hatred surfaced in Victoria's eyes. Especially when she saw Tiffany lying on the ground, she grieved even more. My daughter, why is your face so flat? I shrugged and asked. Are you sure I pushed Julian downstairs? Butler Kane saw it with his own eyes. How could it be fake? Kane stammered, afraid to look me in the eye. I also heard it from the eldest miss. His lower teeth were all shattered, causing him to speak with a lisp. Victoria Froneth. Since Tiffany saw it, it can't be false. I laughed loudly. Actually, you don't love me at all. I stared into her eyes, trying to figure out this biological mother's mind. Just to give an explanation to your dead husband, to make your conscience feel better? A flash of guilt crossed Victoria's face. She wanted to explain something, but I couldn't be bothered to argue. Pushing the adopted son downstairs is fine too. If you wanted to take the blame, add money. 200 grand? Victoria looked disappointed. Do you have no feelings for us at all? I found it funny. You don't even believe me. What feelings are we talking about? After a long time, she sighed. She said she forgave me this time, but never again. I went home. My adopted mother, Aunt Faye, sat by the window, her face even more sallow than before. She had end-stage liver cirrhosis. Her quality of life was poor. Even so, Aunt Faye had been very happy recently. She said my reuniting with my family was a good thing. She could leave peacefully. Aunt Faye wasn't as beautiful as Victoria. She was just a very ordinary middle-aged woman. But in my heart, she was the most beautiful mother. Seeing me return, a bit of life returned to Aunt Faye's sallow face. She held my hand, instructing me to treat Victoria's family well. They are your blood relatives. After so many years of separation, it must have been hard for everyone. Buddhism speaks of karma. It's a good thing Victoria found you. She will surely go to heaven after she dies. Her tone was distant, her eyes flickering. I comforted her. Since good people get good rewards, you will definitely live to be 100. Aunt Faye laughed at my words. You sweet-talking child. Back at the Stone Estate, just as I finished using the bathroom, I saw Julian hurriedly hiding his phone. Then he started acting, accusing me of slapping his mouth. He clutched his face, looking incredibly aggrieved. I wonder what kind of brain circuitry this idiot had. Was the last lesson not enough? Tiffany was still in the hospital. Did this kid get his tongue untied in the ER just to seek death again? Besides, what could petty framing do to me? I snatched his phone and opened it. It dawned on me. The kid loved reading dramatic romance novels on Wattpad. I threw the phone away and caught a glimpse of Kane squatting in the corner out of my peripheral vision. Our eyes met, and he shivered. This time Kane didn't dare to stand up for him. He immediately asked Victoria for half a day off, saying he had business that night. Victoria was puzzled and asked me why I couldn't fit into this family. Julian promised me he would treat you, his brother, with respect. Mom, don't blame brother. If he hit me, I must have done something wrong. I will change. Seeing Julian's pitiful act, I instantly felt excited and manic. You're not pitiful enough like that. Let me help you. I forcefully dragged him into the bathroom and locked the door. Victoria pounded frantically from the outside. Julian was terrified. I punched him in the stomach, doubling him over in pain. I raised my leg, stepping on his head and pressing it into the toilet bowl. Fortunately, the dump hadn't been flushed. Instantly, his head was submerged in the murky yellow-brown water. If you don't eat it all today, I'll suffocate you in there. He inhaled sharply, struggling violently. Unfortunately, his small frame had no strength. He couldn't even make a splash. Occasionally, I would lift my foot to let him breathe, then stomp him down again. I didn't stop until Julian drank the murky water dry, leaving only a few solid pieces. I grabbed them and stuffed them all into his mouth. To prevent him from vomiting, I thoughtfully taped his mouth shut with duct tape. That night, Julian was rushed to the ER for severe indigestion. Victoria felt like the sky was falling. She couldn't stand Julian being tortured and threatened to send me away. This is already serious bodily harm. Don't make mistake after mistake. I was curious. Is treating someone to a meal illegal? If you still want to stay in this house, you should apologize to Julian. I shrugged, indifferent. Just so we're clear, even if I leave, no refunds. These words were like a knife carving into Victoria's heart. Her face went pale. That night, Victoria accompanied Julian in the emergency room. Bored alone, I decided to go out and make some quick cash. I went to an underground fight club and told the broker, Tiger, that I wanted a match tonight. He handed me a file. Here's what you want. I opened it and read it. The doubts in my heart were resolved. Tiger said the opponent tonight was Strong, a local grandmaster. If I fought, the odds weren't in my favor. I was immediately interested. Was the opponent really that tough? 3-1 odds. If you can't handle it, forfeit quickly. Don't get crippled for a few grand, Tiger said seriously. A few grand was life-saving money for Aunt Faye. I wanted to get her a liver transplant and save a pension fund. Of course, I had to fight, but I wasn't reckless. If the opponent was too strong, I'd act accordingly. He's here. Tiger looked grave. I looked up. The opponent was a middle-aged man with a deep presence, those bulging temples. I laughed. It was Kane. I immediately bet 100K on myself. This surprised Tiger. The match arrived. Kane leaped onto the ring with a tiger step. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. Master Kane, it's all on you tonight. Master Kane, I bet half a year's wages. My stock losses depend on you to recover. Master Kane, if I pay off my mortgage, I'll have your babies. The noisy crowd showed their support for Kane. I didn't expect the old geezer to be so popular. My turn. Kane's gaze slowly shifted over. Holy crap, Master Caleb, why is it you? He was so scared his false teeth fell out. I grinned. I twisted my itching toes. The result? The moment the match started, Kane immediately surrendered. The scene was stunned, disbelief hanging on everyone's faces. They shouted, "Fix," and insulted Kane for having no martial ethics. I accepted the prize money with a smile and left gracefully. In the following days, Julian didn't act up. Instead, he hid whenever he saw me. Life was finally quiet for a few days. One day, Victoria called me out for dinner. A young woman joined us at the table. She was beautiful and sexy, especially with a tear mole under her eyelid, very alluring. Victoria introduced her as Bella Sterling, my childhood sweetheart. I got lost at age 3. What kind of childhood sweetheart is that? But the name Bella Sterling rang a bell. It was, very blurry. Memories so blurry I couldn't articulate them. Victoria wanted to set me up with Bella, bringing up the old betrothed at birth trope from 20-plus years ago. Who knows if she made that up? From what she said, our families had collaborated in business for years. Bella took over early and surpassed her father's generation. Caleb is also a handsome talent. You two are a perfect match. Victoria winked at me. I tossed a peanut into my mouth, enjoying her nonsense. Julian suddenly said, "Mom, talented man and beautiful woman implies the man has talent and the woman has beauty. I feel brother doesn't even have a formal job yet. Isn't it inappropriate to date Bella?" Victoria hurriedly interrupted. "What nonsense. Your brother doesn't need to look for a job." She turned to me. "Caleb, come to my company in a few days. A position is already arranged for you." Julian muttered, "Doesn't that make him a nepotism baby? Bella, do you like brother?" He hinted in every way that I wasn't good enough for Bella. However, Bella's beautiful eyes were glued to me, never moving away. This infuriated Julian. He wanted to make snide comments again, just as he opened his mouth. Snap! I spat out a peanut, shooting it into Julian's mouth. He looked like he'd swallowed a dead mosquito, nauseous enough to vomit. I gave no face, my tone icy cold. "I'm not good enough for Miss Sterling. You can take my place. Too bad you're ugly, and who knows whose bastard seed you are." Even after years of simping, the Sterling family wouldn't look at you. So my biological mother had to find me and bring me back to secure the bond between the two families. After speaking, my gaze shifted to Victoria. Her expression was awkward as the truth was punctured. I laughed inwardly. I had already asked Tiger to investigate. This mother clearly loved the adopted son more, and with Tiffany's hatred of me, there was obviously an ulterior motive. Since that was the case, helping the Stone family with a marriage alliance wasn't out of the question, but they had to add money. After dinner, Bella volunteered to walk with me, asking me to be nicer to Julian. I was puzzled. Why should I? Bella told me that the year I was lost and later when my father died in a car crash. Victoria washed her face with tears daily, nearly going blind from crying. Fortunately, she later adopted Julian. The child was obedient and behaved, extremely pleasing to Victoria. She poured all her obsession, turned motherly love into Julian, finally walking out of the gloom. You could say Julian fulfilled filial duties in your place, bringing harmony and stability to the Stone family. I nodded. I don't object to that, but the little thing is deeply manipulative and has framed me repeatedly. I won't indulge him in the future. Bella didn't believe it. Instead, she worried for Julian's life. You are so strong. How can he withstand your discipline? She didn't know yet that Julian had already been beaten into the hospital twice by me. I shrugged. Don't worry, that kind of green tea male is particularly durable. Ordinary physical attacks won't kill him. Bella asked softly, do you have a girlfriend? I thought for a moment and nodded slightly. I did, though I hadn't inflated her in 2 weeks. Victoria transferred me $500,000 on the condition that I marry Bella. I said I'd consider it, but this amount was at most enough for dating. To marry, she had to add money. On the day we get the license, you give me another $2 million. The Stone family didn't lack money, but Victoria disliked my attitude. I am your mother after all. Arranging a marriage with the Sterling family is for your own good. Can you not treat me like a business deal? I understood her feelings, but talking about feelings also costs money. I'm poor. When the $2 million hit my account, my savings would be enough for Aunt Faye's future life, including the liver transplant. Terms agreed. Victoria wanted to take me to the hospital to see Tiffany. She's your sister after all. She was hurt so badly and hasn't pursued charges against you. Go apologize and let this matter pass. I didn't like the sound of that. Her pursuing charges would result in mutual combat. If I weren't stronger, I'd be the one in the hospital. Besides, that stupid woman dared to insult my adopted mother. Not killing her was mercy. Victoria was helpless and could only take Julian to the hospital. The two arrived at the ward. Seeing Tiffany's flattened face was distressing. She used to be a 7 out of 10 beauty. Now she looked like a xenomorph. Images from Predator flashed through Victoria's mind. Julian suggested secretly bringing Aunt Faye over for a meal during his birthday to ease relations. After all, brother loves his adopted mother. Birth grace isn't as great as raising grace. Julian's words also hinted to Victoria that he was more important than her biological son. Though it left a sour taste, Victoria agreed. I also want to meet that woman. I hope Caleb can understand my painstaking efforts. After Victoria left, Tiffany was furious. I wish he were dead. Yet you want to please that animal? Do you still consider me your sister? Julian smiled mysteriously. Sis, you misunderstood. I want to help you get revenge. Tiffany didn't understand. What do you want to do? Hee, knives should be stabbed into the soft spots. I want to slap that poor woman in the face and break Caleb's heart. Tiffany was unsure. Julian, aren't you afraid he'll beat you to death? Honestly, Tiffany regretted provoking Caleb. The adopted mother is his reverse scale, his trigger. We should plan carefully. Julian dismissed it. Of course, I need to have a moral high ground. He opened Wattpad and found a classic plotline. When the time comes, we do this. A moment later, a vicious smile curled on Tiffany's lips. On the other side, Bella wanted to visit Aunt Faye. I thought that was fine. If we were really to marry, she needed to meet my family. Bella took the meeting seriously, carrying over a dozen gift boxes and a box of special liver protection medicine. Andy, I own a pharmaceutical company. This is a new product that will help you. Aunt Faye grinned from ear to ear, her eyes fixated on Bella's hips, staring until Bella's cheeks turned as red as apples. I reminded Aunt Faye to restrain herself. Aunt Faye glared at me. What do you know? Big hips mean easy childbirth. You marry her, and our family will be blessed. She instructed me to treat her well, or she'd whip me. Fine, then take care of your body so you can hold your grandchildren when you're well. Aunt Faye actually agreed, instructing me as if it were serious business. Treat your biological mother's family better in the future. Being able to introduce this girl to you shows they don't consider you an outsider. At that moment, the door was pushed open. It was Julian. I frowned. Why are you here? He wore a beaming smile, inviting my adopted mother to the Stone family banquet. It's your birthday. Why should Aunt Faye go? I was about to refuse when Aunt Faye stopped me. All right, I'll go. Caleb recognizing his kin is a good thing. I wanted to meet his biological mother for a long time. Julian nodded obediently, his eyes sweeping over Bella with intense jealousy. Aunt Faye waved to him. Child, come here, let me look at you. Julian's eyes lit up. A thought instantly formed in his mind. If he could win Aunt Faye's favor and make this woman favor him just like Victoria did. Stealing the love of the person closest to him would surely hurt Caleb deeply. Julian got more excited the more he thought about it, running obediently to Aunt Faye. Aunt Faye, I will be as filial to you as brother is, oh. Smack! Aunt Faye slapped him hard across the face. You little animal, you repeatedly framed my son. Do you want to die? She used both fists and feet, beating Julian until he howled in pain. I only did it twice. I was wrong. Twice isn't enough? Take this. Aunt Faye landed an old-school haymaker right on Julian's mouth. 2 front teeth snapped instantly. Bella was terrified and rushed to mediate, shielding Julian as they left. I also stepped in to mediate, secretly kicking Julian again. After chasing them away, I helped Aunt Faye sit down to rest. Auntie, is this what you meant by being nice to the family? Aunt Faye panted, muttering about how thick the little bastard's skin was. What do you know? Good people get bullied. You have to hit when needed. Otherwise, you won't be able to stand your ground over there. Auntie, you're the best. I gave a thumbs up. Seeing Aunt Faye looking unwell, I still worried about her health. It won't be a good banquet. Don't go to the stone house. If you want to meet my mother, I'll arrange another time. Aunt Faye refused, proud and confident. In my youth, they call me the Knight Yikshaw of Temple Street. Who have I ever feared? Don't worry, just watch my performance. I thought about it. I had never seen Aunt Faye lose a fight since I was a child, so I felt at ease. That day, Aunt Faye suffered a sudden heart attack and died at the Stone Estate. Receiving the call, I drove frantically back to the villa. I arrived just in time to see Aunt Faye's body being loaded into the ambulance. I threw myself onto her, hugging her tightly. Her body was still warm. How could she be gone? I turned my head, staring hatefully at 2 figures nearby. Victoria, Tiffany, what did you do? That kid Julian couldn't be innocent either. I called the police to investigate the Stone family, but the truth was covered up by Victoria and Bella. They insisted it was an accident. Bullshit. Aunt Faye never had heart disease. How could she coincidentally have an attack here? Victoria's eyes darted away. She only told me the dead cannot return and promised to make it up to me. She handed over a bank card. There's $2 million in here. Consider it my condolences. I tore the card to pieces, my eyes burning with flames. Aunt Faye is gone. What do I want this money for? Keep it to buy your own coffins. Tiffany ran 10 meters away, picking up a megaphone to shout at me. Julian was also scared into a heart attack by that old hag and has been sent to the ER. We're even now. Can't you be magnanimous? Why threaten us? So you use some method to kill my adopted mother. I roared at the sky, crushing the sedative in my pocket into powder. Out of the corner of my eye, I glanced at a dark corner. There was the trembling figure of Cain. I held a funeral for Aunt Faye. Victoria and Tiffany rushed off to care for Julian, who had heart complications. Even Bella went to the hospital. She said it was because Aunt Faye died in front of Julian, scaring the little thing so bad he wet himself. In the early morning, Bella came to the morning hall to pay respects, telling me to accept the change and not hate the Stone family. Especially Julian. He has a child's nature. He was indeed wrong in this matter. But after all, he brought hope to the family in your stead all these years. Auntie Victoria and Tiffany both like him. I sneered. What did that have to do with me? Aunt Faye couldn't die in vain. I had to make them pay. First, I tied up Cain. 1 kick to the stomach, his eyes rolled back. 1 kick between the legs, he foamed at the mouth. I beat him senseless, warning him not to hide anything or lie to me. Even if I kill you, Victoria will surely protect me. Do you believe it? Cain was already dying. I believe. Master Caleb, I believe. I questioned, then confess. Cain was stunned. Aren't you going to ask first? How did my adopted mother die? Cain fumbled out a USB drive. It was recorded by the living room surveillance. I took it, sneering. When Julian framed me for pushing him down the stairs, why didn't you produce the surveillance? Cain stammered. I didn't know you could fight so well back then. Damn, bullying the weak and fearing the strong. I rapped him on the head and gave him a choice. If you help me take down the Stone family, you not only live, but share the wealth. After being stunned for a few seconds, Cain nodded frantically. I'm willing, I'll help. Then confess. Cain was confused. Confess what else? I smacked him on the head. All the secrets. I want to know everything about the Stone family. Cain sighed, looking like a man marching to his execution. Master Caleb, it starts from years ago. 2 hours later, I actually admired Cain. The old guy was talented. But after watching the surveillance video, my rage burned even hotter. Shortly after Aunt Faye entered the house, Tiffany actually dared to accuse her of stealing a necklace, screaming about calling the police. Then Julian chimed in. Victoria, that's Sal, believed everything and told Aunt Faye to hand it over to minimize the issue. Aunt Faye got angry and slapped both Tiffany and Julian, accusing Victoria of being as stupid as a pig. If I want a necklace, Caleb will buy it for me. You think I care for your trash? Look at your daughter, looking like a xenomorph. I find it bad luck to take her stuff. And this green tea male, one look at his eyes tells you he's no good. Only you treat this little thing like a treasure. Victoria Stone, you cursed your husband to death and raised 2 failures. You are a failure of a woman. Aunt Faye went full throttle, scolding the 3 stones into silence. She got more and more agitated, her face turning from sallow to deathly pale. Suddenly, she collapsed to the floor, looking in pain. Tiffany seized the chance to pin her down, insisting Aunt Faye admit to stealing the necklace. Aunt Faye couldn't break free. The 2 started struggling, and Julian jumped in to help pin her down. The combined weight of the 2 eventually caused Aunt Faye to die of respiratory failure. 2 animals. I roared in fury, slamming my fist into Kane's jaw. Kane, a row of false teeth flew out instantly. So that's it. I bowed to the sky with red eyes. Your son is unfilial. I will execute the enemies and avenge my mother. Within 2 days, trouble came for the Stone Corporation. Documents regarding bribery and failed quality inspections were leaked online, attracting the attention of relevant authorities. As the person in charge, Victoria was brought in for questioning every other day. Long-term suppliers, fearing liability, terminated their contracts. Based on the address Kane provided, I caught Tiffany at a restaurant. She was on a date with her boyfriend and tried to run when she saw me. Hey, where do you think you're going? I grabbed her, loudly shouting about a mistress seducing a man, shaming the Stone family face. Tiffany raged. Don't slander me. He is my boyfriend, a distinguished young Ritterney from overseas. She spoke with pride. I signaled the door with my eyes. A woman charged in furiously. You filthy whore, daring to seduce my husband. She slapped Tiffany across the face, then grabbed the man by the ear. You heartless bastard, daring to find a woman outside. And such an ugly one at that. Am I not enough for you? Do you have a fetish? Did you watch too many slasher films and want to try hard mode? The legal wife cursed nonstop, one hand twisting her husband's ear, the other slapping Tiffany. Her strikes were vigorous. Turns out Tiffany's boyfriend had been married for a long time. His real identity was Kane's youngest son. The so-called overseas Ritterney was actually a graduate of a local vocational school. Tiffany couldn't believe it, screaming in question, then your biology PhD is also fake. The man lowered his head like a child who made a mistake, whispering an explanation. Not PhD. I said I had a PhD. Pretty huge dick. A stream of hot tears flowed from Tiffany's eyes. She screamed at the sky, venting the indignation of being deceived. Scream all you want. The legal wife threw a bottle of acid onto Tiffany's face. Severe burning seized her nerves. Tiffany collapsed to the ground in agony. She covered her face, twitching uncontrollably. Appreciating this grand show, I transferred $1 million to comfort this fierce woman for her upcoming 5-year prison sentence. Tiffany's fate terrified everyone. They knew this was my revenge. Bella asked to meet me. She said Victoria and Julian wanted to reconcile. I swirled the coffee cup in my hand, making no secret of my disgust for the topic. I know you were behind the company issues. Her eyes were complex, as if she were reevaluating me. Engineering PhD. The Stone family underestimated you. I didn't deny it. After recognizing them, I knew this home wasn't safe. I had to leave myself a way out. You are unjust. I am disloyal. Only involving Aunt Faye. I was unfilial. I should have been more ruthless. I regretted only going for the money. Annie Victoria said she can meet any requirement. As long as you let go of hatred, you are still a family. Caleb, I think. You know nothing. I interrupted her, not wanting to hear this woman's chatter. Tell Victoria, no one named Stone will escape, including her. What about me? Bella asked. Are you involved too? My eyes went cold. No. Bella explained hurriedly. It's just, I feel you hate me now. With Aunt Faye gone, I naturally had no intention of marrying. I wouldn't say hate. I just don't want to marry an old woman. Bella was stunned. We are the same age. Bullshit. My physique is a tiger that won't fall after 50 rounds. You're a dried-up, yellow-faced woman at 50. You think you're a match for me? I stood up, dropping the final words coldly. Go for the adopted son. That little spare rib suits you better. A look of intense unwillingness and gloom crossed Bella's face. I heard that Julian indeed confessed to Bella later, but she looked down on him completely. Julian went to a bar in a rage to get drunk, passing out after 2 drinks. From that day on, he constantly dreamed of pinching off an endless poop. It felt very strange. Victoria found me, her glamorous looks now haggard. The company issues and Tiffany's disfigurement had exhausted her. She took out a contract giving me 20% of the shares, saying it was to make up for the debt owed to my adopted mother. A life for a life. You should pay with your life. I tore up the contract, telling her this money couldn't solve the problem. Are you really going to commit matricide? Victoria looked incredulous. I retorted, do you think I'm stupid? Can't you take some initiative and end it yourself? Seeing Victoria speechless, I simply gave her a clear path. If you do this one thing, I will acknowledge you as my mother. Victoria's eyes lit up, thinking I still cared for family ties after all. Good son, tell me quickly. As long as mom can do it, I will promise you. Hand over the adopted son, Julian. Then jump off the roof of the company building. If you don't die, I forgive you. If you die, I'll erect a tombstone for you. And I'll also forgive you. Victoria's company building was 28 stories high. Jumping down would surely turn her into meat paste. Every word was like a hammer, striking Victoria's heart. She was heartbroken. You're also my son. Why force me to this extent for an outsider? Outsider? Aunt Faye was my mother. You're the outsider. Disfigured Tiffany hid in the stone estate, destined to live in dark corners for the rest of her life. A woman who now looked like a horror movie monster without makeup would forever fear the sunlight. Until she received a call from her Ritter-knee boyfriend. Tiff, I was forced. Now that the tiger wife is in jail, no one can stop us. Please give me a chance. I will spend the rest of my life taking care of you, making up for this regret. Baby, even if I don't have a PhD, I have. You know, did you forget my ability? Let's elope. We'll go to a strange place and start over. Sweet words finally softened Tiffany's heart. Besides, looking like a ghost, would any man still like her? She left a farewell letter and finally walked out of the stone estate. Tiffany arrived at the agreed warehouse. Her boyfriend wasn't there. Only me and Kane. I pointed at Kane, smiling. He used ventriloquism to trick you into coming. Kane looked a bit embarrassed. Eldest miss, excuse my poor performance. Tiffany turned to run, but accidentally fell into a pit of wet cement. Several concrete slabs from the roof happened to fall. Boom! One of them pinned her lower body. This trap took me a lot of effort. Best suited for killing animals. Tiffany was in agony, her body sinking lower. Blood seeped from her mouth as she screamed for help. Caleb, save me. I was wrong. Please save me. She repeated those lines, but they couldn't stop the footsteps of death. The cement gradually covered her nose and mouth until she couldn't make a sound. I patted Kane on the shoulder. Do you guess she suffocated? Or was she crushed? Kane twitched his mouth, not knowing how to answer. His smile was uglier than crying. Victoria's company went bankrupt, unable to protect Julian, who was hiding everywhere. On a dark and windy night, I took the mother and son to the rooftop of a high-rise. Standing on the edge looking down, the crisscrossing streets were so far away. People were like ants crawling slowly. No wonder undercover agents liked meeting on rooftops. Discussing private matters. No one knows. Doing bad deeds. No one knows either. Kane beat Julian half to death, then put a hemp rope noose around his neck. He pulled tight. Julian's face instantly turned pale, his feet kicking wildly. A stream of yellow-brown substance flowed from his pants. I covered my nose, stepping back in disgust. Victoria knelt, begging me with sorrow. Let your brother go. He is innocent. Innocent. I laughed, pulling out my phone and playing the video. The scene before Aunt Faye's death replayed. Victoria exclaimed, How do you know? Butler Kane gave it to me. Did you think you could hide it from me forever? Victoria looked hatefully at Kane, her eyes instantly red. Kane, you ruined me. You ruined the Stone family. You heartless man. Kane coughed dryly, his face stern and resolute. Master Caleb is the one destined to rule. I laughed loudly, bending over with mirth. At this moment, 2 men walked out from the distance and stood beside Kane. One was clearly Tiffany's PhD boyfriend. The other had a small mustache. Seeing Mustache Man, Julian instantly stopped struggling. A look of tenderness floated in his terrified eyes. Mustache Man also stared at Julian, his eyes revealing affection. I took in their emotions and decided to drop the act. I told Julian, the endless poop sensation you felt? That was Mustache Man's doing. He is Kane's youngest son, and Tiffany's boyfriend is Kane's eldest son. The more exciting thing is, The corner of my mouth curled as I looked at Victoria. She was panicked and helpless, begging me not to continue. No, Ian ceased. Your dignified mother has been having a long-term affair with Butler Kane. Julian opened his mouth. The satisfaction of hearing gossip outweighed the fear of death. Victoria lowered her head in shame, whimpering sounds squeezing through her teeth. Caleb, you're my son too. Why treat me like this? Why be so cruel? I am just a woman. Victor left early. I was lonely for so many years. She cried shrilly, moving even Kane. Master Caleb, how about sparing the madam's life? I warned Kane to remember his position. You took the money and the benefits. Stop being so hypocritical. Kane sighed, reluctantly withdrawing his gaze. Victoria lifted her tear-streaked face, screaming shrilly. Are you really going to commit matricide? You unfilial son. I widened my eyes, grinning savagely as I spoke a cruel sentence. The driver who hit and killed your husband 20 years ago was Kane. I revealed the truth buried for 20 years. Back then, he hid for 2 years, then came back to fish for information, even applying as a laborer for the Stone family. Seeing the Stone family wasn't pursuing the matter further, he relaxed. Later, relying on his muscles, the old geezer climbed into Victoria's bed and was promoted to butler. Perhaps tasting the sweetness, Kane targeted Tiffany and Julian, sending his 2 sons to consume the family fortune. Unfortunately for them, plans can't beat fate. Victoria found me. That day, Kane confessed everything. An affair with her husband's killer, and her daughter and son were packaged by the Kane family. Victoria broke down completely. She laughed at the sky, laughter mixed with tears. Then she walked tremblingly to the edge of the roof. Victor, I'm sorry. She looked back with a smile, closing her eyes nostalgically. She jumped. Julian's eyes also lost their color. Epilogue 1. Bella Sterling's perspective. The Stone family was annihilated. I took the opportunity to acquire Victoria's company, finally getting my hands on the patents I coveted. I watched Caleb leave without asking him to stay. Once the cleanup was done, I took a private jet to a small island. There, a woman lay on a rocking chair, gazing into the distance. You walked over? The woman looked up at me. This face. It was Caleb's adopted mother, Aunt Faye. Her exquisite face had a fair complexion. The sallowness of the past was nothing more than wax to ward off the cold. I called out, Auntie. Aunt Faye nodded slightly. Her real name was Faye Sterling, once the most favored woman of our Sterling family. But she was ruined for half a lifetime by a man. Victor Stone, you heartless man, you deserved this retribution. At this moment, Kane walked over in casual wear. He helped Faye up, thoughtfully instructing her to be careful of her health. Cousin's windy outside. Let's go in and rest. Epilogue 2. Victor Stone's perspective. My name is Victor Stone. After death, my soul has been following Faye. I watched her raise Caleb. Watched how she took revenge on my family. My daughter's death pained me. My wife's death caused me regret. My son killing his family was my retribution. Back then, I abandoned Faye and married the boss's daughter, Victoria. When the car crash happened, I saw Faye holding a little boy's hand. That child's appearance. Instantly, I understood everything. Story complete.